and welcome to the In 90 Minutes podcast. Happy Monday, gentlemen. Happy Monday to all of our viewers and our listeners. I am your host this evening, Ahmed Salim, and with me this evening are David and John. Misael could not be with us today as he had some other things he had to attend to. Um, but we are here. It's Monday. We had a good weekend. We're coming away off of a win. We're coming off of a positive streak. But we'll talk about that more. But before we do that, gentlemen, how's everybody doing this fabulous evening?
Good. I think David's about ready to throw his computer across the room.
Yes. And as you say that he goes offline, we were a little late in starting this morning, this this evening. David is running into some technical difficulties, and those of you watching just saw him drop off of your screen. So we'll wait for him to get back. But in the meantime, as always, thank you to all of you for watching us. If you do not already, please follow, like, and subscribe our socials. We are on all the major platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, as the at In 90 Minutes podcast. And you can always consume our podcast however you consume your podcast. We're available via Apple Podcasts and Spotify as In 90 Minutes podcast. David should be joining us momentarily here, I believe. As soon as he comes back, we'll get started. But we have a lot to talk about today, a lot of it good, a lot of things happening. So where do we
Yeah,
start, John?
we can go with just start with Orlando City B because I don't think David watched the match either, based
Yeah.
on the text thread everybody was watching the senior team play Columbus. So Orlando City B played on Friday, same time as the senior team, and as shown by the senior team roster on Friday, most of the stars of Orlando City B are now on the bench for the senior team. So when we play at the same time, or within a couple days of when the two teams play within a couple days of each other, it's hard for those stars to make it to the Orlando City B matches and play for them. So it's been a rough going. I think this was our second or third straight loss in a row, and they haven't been even close. We lost New England 3-0 last week, but the boys are home, so obviously this is a 4-0 loss. Didn't watch the match because the senior team was on, even though it was delayed. So I don't have much to say about it at all. But the boys do play here in a week. They play, if it'll load. Everybody's having computer problems, it looks like today. Um, there we go, finally. But they do play on August 3rd at 7 p.m. Against New York City FC2. It's a home match, so luckily the home form is much better than the away form, and they only have, I believe, 2 defeats all season at home. And show up to support the boys. To Sunday, it's a later match. Weather won't be too terribly bad. They need our support out there, and they deserve it. It's the future of our club. Future stars of our club are playing there, because it's not like the years in the past where it's a lot of guys in their mid-20s that are just trying to keep a career going. These are guys that are just starting their career. They're in the early stages of their career, and they're going to be on the senior team. But David, were you able to watch the OCB match at all on Friday?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, welcome back.
Perfect. Yes.
Welcome back, David.
Every week, somebody's a victim of technology. I'm sorry. The please,
OCB.
OCB. I did not get the chance to watch it. I believe it was at the same time as our game on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. The result was 4-0, so not much to say about that. The out of OCB, the only thing worth talking about is the fact that Justin Ellis appears not to agree to terms about a homegrown contract, and he may not be a Lion. So that's the debate that is moving through the Twitter sphere.
Everybody's
Either
freaking
way,
out because he wasn't on the League's Cup roster. Who
right? It's
who gives a dude? There's 3 matches he's not going to play in. He hasn't been on many rosters. He's 17 years old.
18.
Let the kid be a kid. If he wants to wait to sign a homegrown contract, let him wait to sign a homegrown contract. If the club wants to wait for him to sign a homegrown contract, wait for him to sign a homegrown contract. Just let those things be. There's more important things at the club because I'm sorry. Again, he's 17 years old and he's not going to be, um, what's the kid from Barcelona, Yamin Lamal, or however you
Mhm.
say his name, where he's
Yep.
going to be a world changer. He's just not. I mean, he's a very good 17-year-old soccer player, but he's not gonna completely change the face of our club, overnight to where all of a sudden, or at least what he's shown when he plays for Orlando City B, he's shown to be a solid, striker, solid number 10 for Orlando City B, but he's in no way been this oh my goodness star that people are freaking out that he's not signing for.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. That's the only news that we have. Either way, we're still gonna make money. And That said, just to catch up, because I don't know if you guys touched about the events last week.
Not yet.
Uh, no, yeah, okay, go ahead, Rob.
Not
So
yet. No, no.
if the conversation has been OCB, then that's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah. We just started with OCB. I didn't really talk much about anything else because you dropped off, so we didn't want to go too far. All
Yeah,
right.
but we can move to news around the league, David.
Yeah, let's do that.
Sure. I will like before we go into the league, I just want to thank the club for the event Tuesday. I know myself and John were there.
I'm
John,
so bummed I couldn't get there. My son's practice ran late, and then by the time with traffic and everything, but I would have gotten there for like the last 5 minutes. And
no, for
I had my
sure.
family in the car because everybody was gonna come with me. So I had like 4 people in the car sitting watching his practice so that we could then go and drive.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so I'm really bummed. The pictures and everything look great.
No, things happen. To be honest with you, if you do not live in Orange County within a reasonable distance from the stadium, it was gonna be tall order.
Yeah.
I live relatively close. I left my house at 5:30. The event That's when the event started, and I got there at 5:45, thinking, oh, okay. By the time I got there, the parking it was completely full. I ended up parking in the street, which did not make me warm and fuzzy because I was driving my work vehicle with all my tools and in the back. And well, it's not the nicest of neighborhoods. I can tell you a big shout out to Paolo Nogueira, my season ticket rep, who spent a good 25 minutes talking to me. I always appreciate the way he talks to everybody. He's always wanting to know more about the club and all that. So thank you to the club that created such a meaningful event. All the players really liked it. There was a barbecue which I did not take. I didn't partake on anything. I just got there. I got in line with the. I didn't even get to see the other two players, which were Duncan and Robin. I had a specific, if you follow me on social media, I have posted. I had a Martino Heda poster. I got signed, and then a poster that both players signed as well. And basically, my whole time was consumed standing in line. I was shocked, guys, shocked. To be honest with you, it looked like it was game day. There was a lot of people. I will
Yeah.
say, throwing it out there, maybe 3,000 people, easy. And I laughed, like, right. I saw John briefly. We just happened to coincide online, and Barrett got I had a scarf for him so he could get something signed. And that was, I didn't even get to talk to John. I mean, I was just it was just one of those things. So great
You,
event.
you talked to Barrett more than you talked to me because Barrett was able to
Yeah, yeah, no
go
kidding.
underneath the queue line and come over and say hi to you.
Yeah, yeah, man. And I want to thank all the people that watch us on a regular basis. All the people, three people that came over and say hello. But
Not,
nonetheless, I just want to thank everybody that took the time to stop by and say hello to me. Hopefully, they got to see you, John. Otherwise, we appreciate the support. I should have brought stickers. Didn't think about that. But yeah, it was a beautiful event. And John, from your perspective, how did it go for you?
Um, yeah, I'll touch on the parking later, but in a minute. But no, it was thought it was a good event. Really, the only complaint I had because my son was there was there didn't appear to be anybody manning the kids area really, except for the one pop up blow up thing that we didn't even go on, and manning it's being lightly, but it was pretty much seemed that it was like four or five kids at one station, and those five kids were running it. Like kids, I'm saying like 5, 6, 7, 8 year olds. There wasn't even like a teenager intern out there, making sure the kids took turns. And it was that way at every station that had, that was soccer oriented. They had the, blow up like a, dartboard with the Velcro soccer ball that you could kick up there. They had another one that was like a soccer net, I believe, that was kind of undercover. And then they had a target one where it was like a goal size with spots the ball could shoot in. But everyone had so many kids there, and there was no organization between them. That we really didn't get to do much because my son's 3. No 7 year old's gonna let a three. Most 7 year olds aren't gonna let a 3 year old kick the ball from them or what have you. So it was really that was other than the parking, that was the real disappointing thing. Everything else was I thought was really great. There was, a couple of the club sponsors out there giving away free goodies. Like we got two little jars of garlic from Spice World.
Oh, buddy, yes, that was good.
Um, there was a coconut water brand. I can't remember their name, but it was delicious. Um, they were out there. I'm
Did
trying
you
to
get
think.
a shirt? Did you get a shirt from Spice World?
Yes, we got one of the shirts. It's
Yes,
way too
oh,
sir.
big on
thank
Barrett and
you.
way too small for me because I think it's an adult small. So Ahmed, it may fit you, or at least your son.
Um,
Um,
there was scarves too, right? They gave away scarves. I got a
yes,
pop
Spice
scarf.
World. I think it was Spice World had the Plinko, and it was the cold towels. You get them wet
I,
and
I got a
Oh,
I got
nice.
a public scarf, by the way.
oh, you
Somebody
did.
somebody was just handing them,
I
and
didn't see
yeah,
that. No.
it says go Orlando. I
Okay.
just thought it was pretty cool because we're so used to saying Vamos Orlando that I
Yeah,
forgot. Oh yeah, go Orlando. So
yeah.
no, it was
But I
awesome,
mean,
brother.
everything else, pretty much was good except for the parking. To me, if you're gonna have a season ticket member event, you better make sure parking's included, especially if you're going to
I got
advertise
something
it.
to say about that, John.
What's that?
I got something to say about that. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
mean, so we pulled up, and it was five. I'm trying to think, 5:40, and we pull up, and they have one of the ticket reps out there telling people to go park in the
right.
garage near Amway. That it's $10, and I'm like, no, can I go in there? There's people that's been leaving. Like you see people actively leaving, walk. People
Like the
just like
Geico garage, like over there?
and I don't think quite that far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were charging like it was a game. I
Yeah,
ended up parking in the street further
because there
down
was
by
a
the health
concert.
department.
There was a concert at the Amway
Correct.
Center, so
Correct,
Oh,
it
sir.
wasn't just $10 to park; it was 20 or 25.
yeah.
But either way, I'm like, no, we planned on this being a free event. I don't have cash, or I know most of them take card or digital pay. I'm like, I'm gonna park in here one way or the other. I have a
Hmm.
four-wheel drive vehicle. I'll park in the ditch if I have to.
Yeah.
And so he reluctantly let me go in. We found a mom and her sons walking out, and asked her if she was leaving. She said yes. So we basically just swapped parking spots. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to have a season ticket member event, you better make sure that there's enough parking for everybody. You guys knew how many people were coming. It was a ticketed event. Even though the tickets were complimentary, you still had the RSVP, so you knew
Right, you already have an
exactly how
idea
many
how many
people
people.
were there. There's lots across the street that the city owns that you guys could have figured out. That you guys could have figured it out a little better planning with the expecting people to go down 2-3 blocks and park in a parking garage, and then walk there and walk back when it's the event's real only in a couple hours long.
Hmm.
Which it said it ended at 8. It actually ended at about 7:40, 7:45 ish. um because basically they did the drawings, and the drawings were done at 7:45. And they basically, once that was done, the players lines were emptied and they left. But I really wish they would have coordinated the parking a little better, had enough parking for everybody to park, have that free parking. Especially with an event like this, you need to really make
Yeah,
sure that it's you know something that's planned out better,
I'm
and then
with
the
you a
parking
thousand
included.
percent, my friend. I have from good sources that the club underestimated the pool that this event was going to have. Something that
But you know what? That's a good problem to have.
absolutely. Listen,
So
absolutely. I know John was an inconvenience, but I
Well,
spoke with
David,
Paul.
I mean, put it
Yeah, go
this
ahead.
way: what would have happened? You went there expecting to be able to park in the lot that's a
Right,
secure lot.
correct.
You park on the street or in one of those garages,
No, I parked on the
and
street,
well, I'm just
on
saying, you park in
Central
the street
further
or you
down.
park in one of the garages, and then your car gets broken into, and all your tools are gone.
Right, right,
That's
right.
on the club.
And listen, I don't carry like screwdrivers that you buy
yeah,
at
you do.
Walmart. I work on certain. I hate to say this because it sounds so pompous with me, but I busted my ass to earn my bachelor's, so I'm gonna say it. I work on robots. I work on surgical equipment. I have a lot of like tools that are very expensive. So yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I parked my car by the health department. I lay hands on my vehicle and I said, God, I know you love me. Please don't make me regret this decision. And I just went, in faith. I walked in faith, and I came back, and thank God nothing was missing, because you can see that my toolboxes are like bright red. You know what I mean? There's like three of them, and then I have a bunch of boxes with parts and things. I mean, it wouldn't be any good to anybody. But the fact is that the club underestimated the pool of the event. That's what I told Paulo, because he was like, hey, we're very surprised that all these people. I said to him, I said this to you many times, that the fan base is hungry and thirsty for events like this. And I even brought up the house party in 2019. I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to go to that one. I went with our good friend Tom Lord in 2019. I have pictures of my kids and his kids, and we as a his family, my family, we took a picture in like this big inflatable chair. The kids could draw on the concourse floors, and it was just a magical day because people were there not to watch the game, but just to interact with the players. You could you that day you could get pictures and autographs with all the players. And I remember talking to the GM at the time, Alex Leitao, and he said next year, 2020, we're gonna do it again. That never came to fruition, obviously for very obvious reasons. But to the club, as we move on, it's listen, we already proved to you that we will do the impossible. We went to the training facility in Kissimmee. We went downtown Orlando. And by the way, to the people that went to the watch party at the restaurant or bar or whatever downtown, I can't remember the name, that they also had a great time. The team is finding out that this fan base is not plastic, it's not fake, and that's a good thing. Like Ahmed said, perhaps next event, better plan, blah 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 blah. And I'm gonna up from the heart. no, hopefully the next event will be open to the whole fan base. Being having STM specific, beautiful. Yeah, that's what we pay for. But this fan base deserves a whole lot, and we're proving that we'll support anything that the club
Well,
does.
just look at what we did. And I got one quick story, and then we can move on about the event because I see our friend Astro, first time commenter that I know of. We'll read his comments really quick, and then I'll move on. But Astro said, for the moment, I go with Orlando City because of the Squid Gillespie. And then he clarifies the Squid Gillespie goalkeeper. Yeah, I mean, welcome to the Orlando City family.
Thanks
You
for
know,
watching.
yeah, thank you for watching us.
Thank you, my brother.
Gillespie, I feel, is one of the, for such a young club, is definitely an icon of our club. He's been our goalkeeper for 5 years now. Done an amazing job, and definitely a warrior of the team. But
I got a story about Galense, but go ahead, brother.
yeah, definitely. But I mean, what I was going to say is in 2017 when we opened the stadium, I don't know if you guys went to that event when they had the little stadium tour thing or before, a week or two before. That was slam packed. That was so packed. We walked in, went, oh, cool, and left. Because you couldn't get the locker room was like a 2 hour
Did you
wait.
guys do the pictures, the holiday pictures a few years ago?
No, I
No, I
forget
could.
why we couldn't make it though.
Wait, I didn't mean to cut you off, John. I just
You're
want
fine.
to interlude real quick. We did. We took. We showed up. We had the Hanukkah shirts. We took the pictures. We went into the locker room. Listen, if somebody put a bullet in my head that day, I'm dying an accomplished man. An accomplished man. I still have the pictures.
Yeah.
I sat in the locker room, went down the tunnel. Incredible. Once again, this fam,
Did
this
they? Let me
club,
ask you real quick, David.
yeah,
Did
brother.
they have the tunnel dark or lit up? Like, did
They
they
had
only
they
have the
had it.
blue
They had the
lights
purple
on?
lights. They had
They
the
had the
purple
purple
lights.
lights. They had the
Yeah,
purple lights,
Okay.
and
So, but did they have the main lights on too, or was it just the purple lights?
just the
just the
purple.
purple lights,
Nice.
and
Okay.
oh, and you could take pictures with the Open Cup trophy on top
Nice.
of that. So, like I said, and by the way, meant the world to me because Mark, the team
Photography.
photographer, he called me my name. He's like, "Oh, okay, David, your family's ready to go." So that was to me that was amazing.
Nice.
Once again, this fan base, with so little, we just satisfied, and the for the club, it wasn't a huge investment of money for that event. But about Pedro, when I got to see him, and obviously, I know that I have 1,000 people behind me, and I was in a rush. I had to get home. I said to him, I said, hey, when people are chanting "Dale huevo," put your nuts into it. That will be the translation. We don't mean literally. he he laughed because obviously he had that save where he
Ah, yes.
literally he used his crotch to stop the ball. So, by the way, I spoke with them briefly, Martina and Pedro. Super appreciative, surprised that many people were showing up on a Tuesday,
Definitely.
and that energy they take with them. As obviously we saw on Friday, we're gonna talk about that.
Mhm.
Um,
But
Real
the
quick,
story, real quick,
yeah,
David. The story I had from last week was Barrett really wanted. Barrett has this. My son has this fascination with goalkeepers, and the match before the Wednesday night match, he was trying to get Gillespie's attention because he really wanted his keeper mitts. And obviously, it's a 3-year-old yelling. We're sitting 10, 15 rows up. By this time, Gillespie was in on the at the main net doing his warm ups. There's no way Gillespie's going to hear him. And I told Barrett, I said, even if it happens, it'll be after the match. We'll see what happens. And obviously, it was an embarrassing match and all that. So then this event, was coming up, and I told him about it, and told him that Gillespie was going to be there and all this. And we get there, and I see the line, and I'm like, I'm here. It's 95 degrees. I have a 3-year-old who's obsessed with playing all anything that has to do with the ball. And there's a bunch of kids. They had a soccer net set up there. There's a bunch of kids, 7, 6, 7, maybe up to 10, 11-year old kids playing with it, and that's all he wants to do. So I see the line for Gillespie. I see the line for Duncan and Robin. The Duncan and Robin line was much shorter. Like, we're going to go here. Barrett knows who Duncan is. If I show him, Janssen's photo or picture, with his jersey on, he's going to know who Janssen is. So we do all that. He goes and plays soccer. Well, then at the end, when we're walking out, because we were sitting by one of the tables, he was pretty hot from playing soccer, playing around and everything. Well, the players are leaving right when they finish the drawing, the raffle. So, Gillespie's coming over, and we're in a spot where Gillespie could either go, to the right or to the left. And I'm like, oh, stand right here, Barrett. Maybe Gillespie will give you a five, or we can get you a picture with him or something, but at least get you a five. Well, of course, Gillespie goes to the right. So then we move up a little further. Same thing. Gillespie could either go to the left or stay to the right. He starts to go to the left, but then he goes to the right. And then Barrett, being a tired toddler, tired 3-year-old, starts crying because he's beside himself that Gillespie, he doesn't understand. To him, Gillespie wouldn't stop and give him a high five. So then we kind of follow behind them, and they stop again, and I'm just like, we're not even going to try. I'm just going to walk past them. Well, he's throwing a fit, and then one of the club officials that was between Gillespie and myself kind of looks at me with a strange face. I said, he just wants a high five from Pedro, and he just kind of shakes his head and like puts his hand up to me. And then I see him when they start to walk. Gillespie, he taps Gillespie on the hand and kind of points over to us. I said, Pedro, he just wants a five, man. So, Pedro has kids, Gillespie has kids, and he kind of, laughed like a father would when he sees a little kid, throwing a temper like he was, and gives him a five. And I go, Barrett, his magic hand just touched you. And Barrett goes and stares at his hand like,
Oh
Right
my
on,
god.
brother.
so. And then he started
Awesome.
throwing a fit because he didn't understand why we were at the stadium and a match wasn't happening. So he thought we were skipping the
Oh,
match. But,
It's like, no, I want to go watch the game.
yeah, yeah. What are we doing? No, man, that's awesome, brother. Again, the purpose to me, the main purpose of these events, the fans get something out of it, and the players also. They need to hear this because obviously, what happened at home versus New York City was not something that we would love to relive or anything like that. Before we move on, I just want to dedicate a moment for something that it's not MLS related, but is a serious matter. As of this Friday, a club that is 105 years old, maybe on the way out, maybe dead. Morecambe, who for the last 2 seasons was playing in League One, and last year got relegated from the EFL in League Two, out of League Two, has been suspended from the National League. Unfortunately, by Friday, if they don't find a buyer, a club with 105 years, founded in 1920, will be gone. And in the since 2019, I've been following Stevenage, and I had the disgrace to see three old 19th century clubs die. In Barry, Macclesfield, and now Morecambe. So I know that our fan base in Orlando City translates to fans in the UK, and I guarantee you that probably we have a Morecambe Orlando City fan out there. And I just wanna, we wanna, say that that how sorry we are for this, and hopefully an answer will come through. And the EFL starts this weekend with League One and League Two, and also the National League. As of right now, Morecambe is suspended till the middle of August. The players and staff had not been paid for a month and a half, so it's a tragedy for the folks that want pro relegation. Well, there you go. This is the ugly B side that nobody tells you about. So just wanted to say that. I know that we have a lot of people that watch us in the UK, and this is something that is a cold shower for many. and we just want to send our love and our affection, and hope that more camp can survive, come back to the EFL, so Stevenage can beat you again. So with that said, guys, let's move on to.
I got one
By the
more
way,
thing for news around the league, and then we can talk. And then once I'm done, David, we can talk about the All Star game and how our boys did in the All Star
absolutely.
game.
By the way, did you
But
start yourself on social media, John?
yes, I did. We were.
Okay.
You mean in the pictures the
Yeah,
club
yeah.
posted from last week? Yeah,
Mm.
I was on it actually twice on the Instagram one. The
Oh,
second
wow.
one was a Where's Waldo. The first, one was really easy. One was really difficult. I only knew it was me because I knew what shirt I wore, and I didn't see any other shirts like that there. Um, but yeah, the league is talking about, and I guess they're having serious discussions on it. And I do want to hear your guys' opinions on it. Changing the our calendar from the current kind of March through November calendar to a more traditional what they do in Europe. Where it's August
August to May.
through May. Um, my personal opinion on it is it's going to be the death of the league, plain and simple. Doesn't have to do with going up against college football. They do that, you know, all throughout the college football season anyway, and do fine. Doesn't have to do with going up against the NFL. We don't, at least as of right now, don't really play matches on Sundays to compete against the NFL. And even then, I don't think it would affect it too terribly much. What it has to do is people complain about the heat and complain about the delays because of rain. Well, we were talking about it in the chat. I think it was during the All Star game or during the skills competition last week, one or the other, in our group chat. And over half the teams in the league, East and West Coast, play in a climate to where it's not unusual to see a snowstorm, sub freezing temperatures, freezing rain, all the way into mid to late April. Heck, I remember when I went to Boston, moved to Boston in 2016. I moved there in mid April, and 2 weeks into my stay there, it was 60 on Sunday. By Tuesday, I woke up and there was 4 inches of snow on the ground. So, and if it's snowing like that, you can't really play the game of soccer. If it's raining, you can play in it. If it's lightning, you delay it. Lightning obviously generally passes. So that's going to be a lot of the makeup games that teams in the north have to play. Plus, then you go even further, and the disparity in the weather is going to there's already a huge home field advantage in the MLS now. But then you go into the winter, and let's say we go and play in Toronto, and it's going to be, what, -2 degrees, 10 degrees if we're lucky as a high, if we have a match there in late January. And then you're going to come down here, and we're going to have an 80-degree match. That, to me, that's way more dangerous than us going up to Toronto now, it being in the, mid high 70s, low 80s, and then coming down here and it's in the low 90s. That's, yes, it's hot, but your body, the shock to your body isn't as much. And that with the matches that they're going to have to make up, I just really think will really be the death of the league. I see people posting about, oh, it's going to be a split calendar where they take January and half of February off. Well, for a lot of places, most places, mid to late February is the worst weather, is when you get the worst weather.
Yeah.
Late January to mid February, especially, is when you get the worst weather.
There's going to be nothing like playing NYCFC in their baseball stadium in February.
Yeah.
You thought they
Yeah.
had a home field advantage now.
For
When
us,
people complain about how bad like artificial turf is, imagine playing on a field where it's legit frozen solid.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to I think to your point, I think there are going to be a lot of challenges that they have to work through from weather wise, and just environment wise. And I think And I think we've always said this when you compare the MLS to like the Premier League, a lot of it is outside of the US, it's all condensed, right? So what you consider traveling from country to country is like for us from traveling to state, right? So for us to have that much more space definitely poses the issues. Um, I feel like that's going to be a big hurdle, but I also think that aligning to what the rest of the soccer world is doing, if we can pull it off, could work out for us in a little way.
Yeah,
It's
in
a
my
lot.
opinion,
There's a lot to be considered.
absolutely, my friend. For us in Orlando, advantageous. I'm no, first of all, I'm not too crazy about going to a game where it's 95 degrees with 100% humidity.
You don't want to be in Internco Stadium in the middle of July.
No, listen, I've been begging every year when they send out the survey. I like, we need ventilation.
Hey,
I
I'm
gotta
glad
be,
they stopped you after the noon kickoff games.
yeah, last game that home game, I took Ivy because my wife had other things going on, and when I got home, I just told my wife, I said, this is probably the last time I'm doing this. I shouldn't be putting this child through this. She like looked like all lethargic, and it's like it's just not good. It's just not good. I mean, it's really really hot, and I don't understand, if it will kill the team to have like big fans spinning, or like at Disney with the sprayer. But either way, I already watch a league in the EFL that has to deal with frozen pitches and snow and cold. And there's many times where the games are suspended. And the main issue here. What is it, Mama? The main issue is that when we go play Toronto, we go play Minnesota and these other clubs in the really, really far north, is that going to be a great experience from a standpoint of the fan in the terraces? One of the things that I always argue with people about this. North America is 15 degrees colder than Europe. We see this on when we go to history class, and we see like the first the pilgrims and the first people that came to colonize North America from England, and how most people died and starved. Why? Because they were used to a different type of winter. If Europeans had to deal with the cold weather, the high precipitation that we have in our winters, perhaps they will be playing the same calendar as MLS. But again, the argument has always been to try to make MLS more Europe, and my counter argument has been we're Americans, and football is organic, and it should be taking the atmosphere and the way of the culture. In many countries in Latin America, they had an apertura and clausura, meaning they have a mini tournament at the beginning of the season, crown a champion, take a break in the middle, then close the tournament with another mini tournament, get a champion, and both champions play for the
You
championship.
know what? You make a really good point, David, because you also, if you do think about it like that, if we restructure the way the league is run, this would be a good time to think about doing that. Um, it's not going to make a lot of people happy, but to your point, it's all about culture because people here would not understand if you got rid of the playoffs. What do you mean at the end of the season there's not an additional round of
Right. And
playoffs?
and I have argued this. My friend. In the Israeli premiere, how it's done is the top 8 teams go to playoffs to crown a champion, and the bottom teams go to playoffs to determine who gets relegated.
Hmm.
Okay? So again, is that the way that England does it? No. So once again, are we trying to be English, or are we trying to play the game and adapt the game to the market? Once again, just because they do it over there a certain way doesn't mean that we have to do it over here. And by the way, I follow a very traditional team in Stevenage. Those guys got their traditions. There's some things that are beautiful that will probably never happen in this country. Pitch invasions. When a team gets promoted, how wonderful will it be that if we left a trophy at the Interanco Stadium, that we're allowed to pitch invade, and the people already know they don't act like animals. It's all planned. The ushers already have like the areas cordoned off where you're not supposed to go, and the players actually stay in that area. And if they want to interact with the fans, it's at their own choosing. But the reality is that we here we have this problem where there's certain people that have a large audience and that have a platform to use, where their job is to crap on MLS. How many times you
Yeah.
see ridiculous plays? Ridiculous, because to me, football is organic, is fun, and they're like, "Oh, look at what MLS did," and people are like, "Oh my God, this is horrible. I want to throw acid in my face." But if it happens
Well,
in the
let's put it into context, because I know exactly what you're talking about, because I saw
yeah,
your tactical manager, who, by the
there
way,
you go,
is from Orlando, an Orlando City fan, but
and a former Orlando City employee.
yeah, he threw shade. If you guys remember, was it Chicago we were playing?
Yeah, that's right.
The goal where the ball, it's kind of a miss clear by
And
Chicago, and it
Facundo
gets
and
knocked
top.
around, and
Yeah.
Facundo ends up, basically on the ground and kicks it into the net, making fun of MLS for that. And somebody that I enjoy most of his product that he puts on X. But man, if he was truly about the growth of this league, and I'm going to take your wind a little bit, David, but if he was really about the growth of soccer in this country, he'd support the MLS more. He'd stop making fun of it. Yeah, make fun of it, but that's all he does is make fun of it. I don't remember the last positive thing he said about it, you know, other than when Berhalter lost his first match coaching for Chicago, and that was more of him being anti Berhalter than pro MLS. So until these guys try to say, oh, we're for the U.S. soccer, we want to see it grow. No, you're not. If you really did, you'd find a local club, whether it was USL, USL Championship, MLS, USL, what do they call it, League One or what have you. You would find one. You would find a team. There's plenty of them out there. The teams we're starting to get almost as congested, at least in Florida, with professional and semi-professional teams as a lot of countries in Europe are. Find a club to support. Stop making fun of the local product. It's that simple.
Yeah. I the thing for me is that, thinking back to what David said about invading the pitch, that's something that, fans look forward to. My fear is that if we were to go in that direction, what would happen? It would be something you pay to be able to do.
That'd be even more American, right?
That's what I'm
Capitalizing off of
saying.
some,
What's going to happen
fan
is we'll take
experience.
something that's meant to be organic and really about the passion and the support of the fans, and we'll turn it into something to line your pockets. And that, I feel like that ends up being the case in a lot of things, and that's really what ruins it. It's like if you let it happen organically, that's what would happen, and that's how those things came about. Those things that we're talking about came about because that's what people did. The fans did. People weren't charged to do those things. It was you support us. You're here. This is what we do. You
There's a
know.
whole rabbit hole I could go down with organic.
Yeah, I know
No,
that.
for sure, for
But
sure. I just like I
honestly,
said, I just find it disingenuous that if we're trying to grow the sport, that is our own people who go out there and amass a huge following that in this podcast we could dream of.
You know what
Uh,
we should do? You should do, David, is you should do a deep dive next time, because he had his own team in the soccer tournament,
yeah,
and
and
find
TST,
the what?
and he had he was in TST, right?
Yeah, and in the soccer tournament that's held in the Carolinas in the first part of July. You should go and find his quote unquote highlights of him playing against former MLSers, and see how bad the MLS really is compared to an average
Listen,
person. I'm obviously joking and being facetious,
I just
but
want to be crystal clear that if we are going to just cherry pick the bad moments of MLS to say that MLS is a bad league, then my apologies. I'm dealing with somebody that wants to shut down my internet and is fighting here. But I just like I said, I just find it's disingenuous. Men in Blazers classic. They live in the states and they make it all about the EPL, and then the only time they show MLS is just to embarrass our league. And we're not claiming that we're the best league in the world. We're not claiming that we are the top league in the world or anything
Yeah,
like that.
they won't sit there and acknowledge, the world class cross that Angulo had for our first goal, or the
Correct.
beautiful pass that was inch
But we gotta
perfect
go to that
on the
Chicago
go ahead
goal.
goal,
Hey guys,
or the through ball that Freeman made to Ojeda in the dying moments to seal the match Saturday. No,
Right.
they'll pick something from 3 years ago that you know happens in a sport
Right, and
at any level.
again, I watch a lot of European football, and I gotta be honest with you, embarrassing, crazy things happen in any league. But the problem is that here, when it's something embarrassing or negative, oh, that's MLS. When something great happens, you will never hear about it.
Mhm.
If the guy from down south does something impressive, oh, greatness, poetry, emotion. But if another Argentinian like La Ramiro Enrique, who this past week was on fire, does something, oh well, it's just a low quality league. So
Let's
I
look
just
at what Liverpool did on Saturday morning against Milan in their preseason. I think it was that match. At the end of the match, where they pass it back to the keeper, trying to break a press, and it wasn't even close. And I'm pretty sure it was Milan just dribbled it right into the goal because it was a pass to nobody, and like so bad to the keeper. I'm pretty sure that was the match I was watching that it was on. But let's move on. I think All Star game. Yes, the All Star game was David's dealing with something, so I'll intro it and then he can take over. But the All Star game was last Wednesday. We had two players premiere in it: Alex Freeman and Marco Pasalic. Marco came on in the first half, and I don't remember when Alex came on because I was only half paying attention to it because I don't really care about All Star games. But I know David watched it. David enjoys the All Star game, so I'll let David take it the rest of the way from here if he's ready.
Yeah, I am ready. What I can tell you is Mercado, our starting goalkeeper at LCB, made it to the final for Keeper Wars. Um, our club was well represented in the All Star for MLS Next and the regular team. Caraballo had an incredible outing. Lucky to have this guy with us, and the sky's the limit. He should be turning 17 in August. So the sky's the limit for this young man. Aside from that, glad that none of our players got hurt. Freeman, once again, he was impressive. He played his shift, and as far as Pasalic, he did very well. Um, Obviously, MLS gets to win, and all I gotta say about the All Star, personally, I think it's a piece of Americana. I'm not too crazy about it. I think that the skills challenge could be an event for perhaps a preseason to get people excited. And the skills challenge was fun. It's something that one of the things that we have to learn is that MLS has been a pioneer in things that now we take for granted in football. You know, the FIFA decided to keep the five subs based on the success that we had here in the United States, and the game. In our lifetime, we have seen a new rule implemented: VAR. We do VAR here, believe it or not, better than any league in the world. Okay, and then we also have introduced that when the referee goes to review the VAR, that he speaks on the microphone like we're all used to in NFL and other sports, and that makes the sport better. And of course, you always gonna have some grumpy factory worker from Liverpool go on Twitter and say that we're destroying the league, that we're destroying the sport, that these Americans, this, that, and the other. But we gotta remember, people, that that in the 20th century we saw the advent of keeping clock digitally. We also saw the advent of the card system. Before it was a free for all battle. The people could kick you in the head and nothing happened. We also saw the advent of heating up the pitch to prevent it from being a mud pile. If you
The
see,
offside rule,
right, yeah, exactly. So the penalty area, the indirect kick, the free kicks, corner kicks, all those
the
things.
rule about goalies possessing the ball with their hands changing.
Right, that you can only pass.
You can
You
only
can pass.
handle it when it's can't handle it when it's a direct pass back
Right.
from
So this
the
idea that
same team.
that football, if football was still in its pure essence, players were still playing with boots, literally boots, and the adding the net to the frame. That was another addition. Football is organic, and it moves and it grows and it changes over time. So with that said, all I have to say is that the game is evolving, is changing, and it's beautiful to see that. And personally, I don't. If I wanted to be English, I will write to His Majesty to see if he will take us back, and say that what happened in 1776 was just a misunderstanding, and then then we could be all in the EPL right now. But that's not what it is. We are an independent nation with an independent culture and an independent way of thinking, and we love the game of football, and we are gonna apply it how we do it. You want to call it soccer, that's perfectly okay. When people tell me it's football, I just want to, I'm like, okay, I come from a country that calls it soccer, so go suck a lemon, jump on a rusty
And
pipe.
soccer came from the British back way
I
back.
am tired of telling people that, but the fact is that you know uh, the morons will always try to attack us because of our nationality. You know how many times I have gone in arguments with fans in the EFL over Stevenage, and their comeback is like, "You're a Yank. You don't know anything." And like, first of all, I'm not from New England, so I'm not a Yankee, and I live in Florida in the deep, deep South, believe it or not. And second, since when nationalities are a problem? You know one thing Americans won't do, and I'm gonna send fire down range to our friends in the
Oh boy.
UK. You know that I love you, and I have shown that many many times. But to the people that want to fight with me, you know, this is the thing that drives me nuts. When people argue with Americans about American football or hockey or baseball or volleyball or anything like that, we never go, "Oh, your opinion is invalid because you are French or you are Dutch." We never do that. We never do that. Okay, so I'm sorry. I've been watching football for 31 years now. I don't claim that I know everything. I am as passionate as anybody else. And my team, Stevenage, the people there, from the groundskeeper to the CEO of the club, they know who I am. The players know who I am. They treat me. They're dying to see me, and I'm dying to be there with them. And they have treated me with such respect and such love that it's always shocking when I meet toothless inbreds that want to attack me, saying your opinion we're gonna discount it because because of your
Well,
past.
David, here's my thing when people try to say people in the United States, and this actually comes from Alexi Lawless, which I know he has controversial opinions, but this is something that I felt he was 100% right. And I'm going to ask both of you guys a question. Ahmed, how many teams from, like, how many countries teams do you support? Like, I know you have somebody in Egypt. You
Oh,
obviously have Orlando City here in the U.S. Do you have a team from Germany or a team from England?
yeah, I would say at least four, at the
Okay,
very least.
David, you're three.
The three,
Yeah,
Maccabi Haifa, Stevenage, and Orlando City.
yeah. I'm three or four, maybe five. Um, Ask one of these fans of one of the English clubs how many just clubs they're fans of.
You know what the answer is?
Not how many. Yeah, one, which is awesome. Like I'm all for supporting your local club, but to have a knowledge of a sport, you can't just know one club because one club generally has a certain style they want to play, have a certain makeup of a player, all of that stuff, have a certain specific culture to that club. Whereas, you know, all three of us support the same team here in the United States. You know, David supports Stevenage, which has a completely different culture than Orlando City. He supports Maccabi Haifa, that has a completely different, identity than those other two clubs, in those other two countries, and the same with Ahmed, the same with me, and it's about having a full understanding of the game, not just one team's understanding, and that's what really, you know, thrills me when people in other countries try to say that we don't know, we being fans of the sport inside the US don't know, when the vast majority of fans are fans of multiple teams from multiple different countries playing multiple different styles of the sport. So it just that really fascinates me.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about what transpired in Central Ohio next Friday, since we're running out of time.
Yes.
There's so much to talk about. Um, Go ahead, Amelie.
Yeah,
You
man.
take the.
So last Friday, July 25th, there was a little bit of a delay, so I think the game started at around 8:40 or so. Um, we went to Lower.com Field and we took on the Columbus Crew, who is or was on a winning streak, and we'll talk more in detail about it. But we came away with the win. We came away with a very, how do I call it? We called it. I titled this episode um, Groundhogs Day, because one match that always stood out to me over the last few seasons was the last time we played Columbus. Not the last time we played Columbus. That 2023 match that we played Columbus
At
at
home, yeah.
home. And that picture that I posted in on the sides was Ramiro Enrique. We came back from a deficit. We came back to win 4-3. We were down.
We came down, I think we were 2 goals down twice,
Yeah. So
including as late as the 73rd minute, I think it
I
was
have the
in that
goals.
match.
We were down 3-1 up until the 73rd minute. And then Facundo scored a goal in the 73rd minute. And then Ramiro came in and once again scored two back-to-back goals, one in the 86th minute and one in the 97th minute to put us ahead. When we did that, that is the moment that came back to me. And it was an amazing match to watch. It was.
Thank
The
you, Mark, for
comeback.
leaving early. We have to give credit to Mark too for that comeback.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. Um, you know,
Sorry, Mark. I know that's a day that you have nightmares about, but we have to take a stab at you anytime we bring it up.
so it was a great match. We came away with the win. It was a great win, and I hope this is the start of a new trend.
Absolutely, yeah. I
But,
mean,
but,
but that first half,
but, if you look at the stats and if you look at everything, if it wasn't like, what happens if we didn't bring on Enrique, right? I mean, football is a pound of talent and an ounce of luck, and we use the talent and the luck at that point. What if this is cruel and unusual soccer, football at its finest, right? This is why we love and hate this sport, because depending on which end of the outcome you're on, this was not outside of the last, I don't know, what was it? When did Ramiro come on? Ramiro came on in the 76th minute. So
Yeah, something like that.
20 minutes. Outside of those 20 minutes that we played, that was, to me, not the way we need to be playing. If we're going to, because I always say it's not about the outcome, and I'm glad that we won. But if I look at everything before those last 20 minutes, I'm like, this is not how we need to be playing against Columbus on an uphill schedule coming up our way, right? So that's my take.
Well, you say, what if we didn't bring Ramiro on or Muriel off, however you want to put it? What if Columbus doesn't make those two
Oh,
subs?
absolutely,
If
absolutely.
it's like they made those two subs, my dad was texting me today, and I was going to watch the match anyway after work. But it's like, they made the subs in the 70th and 77th minute, and then all of a sudden, especially the when Chambos came on, it was like all of a sudden Angulo was running free out there, and that first goal legitimately happened. If you watched it, when Ojeda got the ball centrally, the center back had to step up, which caused the fullback not to be able to track Angulo all the way out wide. So then he was slow getting to Angulo. The center back, because he had to step up, gave Enrique the space for Enrique to take on the cross. And the thing I want to hit on too is when Angulo, the two assists Angulo had, realize he didn't do anything fancy. He
Mm-hmm.
was simple and quick with them.
Yes.
And that was, maybe he needs to be fouled more. That should have something that should have been called a penalty. But like I was telling my dad, it's Orlando. We never get the makeup penalty call. They're not going to call it. I'm not going to be mad when they don't call it. They're just Orlando getting a makeup penalty call. It's never going to be called. Maybe he needs to get one of those every match, because when he after that, he was the Angulo we had in 2022, 2023 that was just an annoyance to the other team. You saw him running all over that left side of the pitch, annoying people. You saw an intensity that you haven't seen from Angulo in quite a while. And if we get even a fraction of that throughout a whole match, and he shows the quality that he showed on those two crosses, the sky's the limit for this team, because now we got Paslich on the right side and Freeman on the right side that everybody's afraid of. We have Ojeda in the middle. We have Enrique in the middle, because Muriel should never see the green grass in the United States of America wearing an Orlando City badge ever again. And then all of a sudden, Angulo's coming with this quality that he's shown the last two matches, getting 2 assists or 3 assists over 2 matches. You never know. And then there's Enrique, who got star of the match, and we'll go over team of the week later. But Enrique's got to be thinking, man, I wish we could play Columbus every week,
Absolutely.
because
Yeah, no
I mean,
kidding.
the dude has absolutely, over the last 2 seasons, done very well against Columbus. I didn't do any research on it, but he did very well against Columbus, and um, I'm happy for the win, even though it may not have been pretty in the stat line. The possession stat line and passing stat line wasn't what we hope it to be, but you look at our shots, on target. We had more big chances than Columbus. Have all the possession. You let the other team have the possession, but if you have more big chances than the other team, you are most likely going to win that game if you're even the least bit clinical. And we were. We matched them percentage wise, but we had two big chances made completed to their one. We had four big chances total. They had two. That
Yeah.
was the difference in the match. We had Muriel missed the sitter in the first half. We had the two Enrique goals. Um, and then there's another one we missed. Maybe it was the second chance Muriel fumbled. I know the Ojeda one was not a big chance, because it was too far out and too contested. But they absolutely just should have. You know, First half could have looked better. They picked it up starting about the 30th, 35th minute, and the game completely changed from there out, barring the penalty that 100% was a handball. I thought we took it to Columbus. We were frustrating them. And then, Eventually got what we deserved by playing a good defensive match, and not, luckily some of their shots weren't shot accuracy wasn't the greatest, but no, we 100% deserved that win, and that's two wins in a row we picked up. My dad said it earlier. We picked up 3 points on the number two team and the 2 points on the leading team. Well, now they're in second, which is Cincinnati. If Philadelphia laps them, but I'm pretty sure we picked up points on every team above us this week, because everybody either drew or lost. Columbus lost to us, obviously, and then we also created some space below us, and also being out of the playoffs, which is still a possibility because there's only 3 spots below us to get out of the playoffs at this point. So, overall positive. Can't complain too much at all about a win. I mean, you can, but it's not going to do you any good. There's
No.
on bringing that negative energy when it's something to be positive for, heading into a little bit of a break in the league play.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My only concern with it, and it's not to be negative, is that if we play that way for the big upcoming games that we have, I'm concerned, because we capitalized on mistakes they made, which is what you do, right? But I mean, I just look at these games and I'm saying we have Miami, we have Nashville, we have Nashville twice, and we have Columbus again. Why do we have Nashville twice?
Because we haven't played them yet. We only
Oh,
played them in
wow.
the Open Cup.
Yeah, so we have Columbus. Well, we just had Columbus. We have, not counting the Open Cup. I mean the Leagues Cup. We have Miami, and I'm just looking at the teams that are above us in the standings. Nashville, Nashville again, Cincinnati, and Columbus again. Those 5 matches we have before the end of this season.
Yep.
The way
So
we, to me, the way
Miami,
we were playing, I don't know that that's enough to win. Win at
Miami, I
least
think
half
it
of those
is.
games. Is it okay?
I mean, think about how we beat them. Ran them off the pitch in Miami.
Okay. Yeah.
If we hold strong the first 20-30 minutes,
Yeah.
they might as well just bring the walkers and wheelchairs out for their old players,
Hey,
because
they
they
just signed
tire
some new
out.
players. They signed some new players, and so did Columbus. By the way, did you guys
Yeah,
see that? They signed my guy from my club.
yeah,
They signed him. I don't know how that's going to be when he comes over here.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, cool. They signed a midfielder. They still haven't signed anybody in their defense.
Yeah.
You can only, I'll put it this way: Ohio State back in 2015 came off a national championship, came into the season saying they had one of the most talented, on paper, talented teams in the country, and they didn't even make the I don't even think they made the college football playoffs, or if they did, they got absolutely smoked in them by Clemson. I can't remember that far back
Yeah.
exactly. So just because they saw, oh cool, they have all these attacking players, they have an okay midfield, cool, you're gonna have possession, but when your center backs and fullbacks are terrible, and you can't stop the counter because your center backs don't know what are terrible soccer players. Your fullbacks are pushed so high up the field they can't defend, and one of them's aging Jordi Alba that will make the run forward, but has always had trouble getting back. You know, cool. So look at Atlanta. Look what's happened to Atlanta. Everybody was talking about Atlanta coming into the season. Yes, they beat us once, but they signed all these attacking players, and now they're selling them again because they're not doing well. Their coach is probably going to get fired when the season ends,
Yeah.
unless they go on a run. Obviously we can beat Columbus playing that way, depending on how the new player takes. Cincinnati, honestly, Cincinnati. Every time we play Cincinnati, it's whichever team is willing to defend and hold. It seems like, for the most part,
Hmm.
and doesn't get caught on the counter. And then Nashville is the only one that I'm kind of would be concerned about, because their attack is playing pretty well this year. To where if we sit back and try to hold them, I feel like they have enough dynamic players on their team that, um, and I think BJ Callahan's a great coach, letting the attack know what their job is, but giving them the freedom to use, to do what they're best at. So really, the Nashville matches are the only ones that I'm too terribly worried about. But then it's again Nashville, and they always find a way to lose against us.
Yeah.
To put in my 2 cents on what happened in Columbus, a fantastic night for the boys. Ramiro Enrique proving that he deserves to be the starter.
Absolutely.
When you come back against a team like that in their home, it's a statement win, and one that you grab that amber, you take it home, and you can start a blazing fire.
And that
You
was
know,
their first defeat at home, by the way, this
yeah,
season.
yes. So with that said, a journey starts with one step. Hopefully the boys are gonna do that. Reminder that last year we were around the same amount of points. We got a couple of wins. We got hot, went into League's Cup, come back from it, and we destroy the league. So hopefully that's gonna happen. Perhaps we need to start the podcast in July rather than follow the season from the beginning, because it seems like we pick up steam after the League's Cup break, and we go on. Mind you, there's 10 games left, five home, five away. So every point matters. The it's game on. When we come back from the League's Cup, which we're gonna talk about it in a second since we're running out of time. It's if we don't come out of the group, uh, then obviously we're going to be playing that Sunday after we come out of League's Cup. We have to be Miami. We have to be Miami hard. And if Messi doesn't come up again, it's an opportunity. We cannot let them off the hook. We gotta steal points from them, independently of the rivalry, this, that, and the other. We cannot gift points away this time around. Like John said, the margin of error is minuscule. You lose 2 games, you're out of the playoffs. It's that simple. And if you want to have home advantage, you have to start winning, and you have to beat the teams above us. And thankfully, the football gods are in our favor, and we actually are going to be playing those teams that are above us. So we have to do our best. And Leagues Cup starts. The format has been changed. Uh, basically you have to accumulate as many wins, as many points, as many goals as possible to come out of the group. And I believe it's the top 8 teams that are going to be per league that are going to be moving on. I'm gonna be
Let's
honest with
David.
you.
Let's Before we move on, we got team of the week to cover because we got a
Oh yeah,
lot of players in team of the week this week, or team of the match day, or whatever you want to call it. I believe this one set a record for most Orlando City players on a match day. Martino goes without saying. Martino Heda, Ramiro Enrique, both starters on the team of the match day. Then we got Pedro Gallese as a starter, and Gulo is on the bench. And then the coach of the match day is Poppy himself, leading the team over the win. And then, as David was prefacing, we do have League's Cup coming up here starting Wednesday. Um, Go ahead, David. Sorry to cut you off. Just wanted to get that out of the
No,
way.
not a problem, brother, because I'm not, I'm going on cruise control. The thing is this, and I'm not the only one saying this. If you lose your first game out of the, because it's going to be very, very, very difficult to make it into the next round, based on the situation that we have. I know that if you finish top three out of those 16 teams, you get a berth for CONCACAF champions, and that's beautiful. But we don't have the luxury of investing time on Leagues Cup and then come back into the league, having to make up those games, which basically will be playing Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, if in the event that we were gonna go to the top three, and quite possibly miss out on the playoffs. I personally think that the fan base is fine pursuing side quests as long as making playoffs is a guarantee. And unfortunately, that's not the case this time around. With that said, if you're gonna go, great. We're encouraging everybody to support the club. Personally, I won't be able to attend. Two of the games are on Wednesday nights, which are very, very difficult for me to attend because of my workload. And Saturday, be honest with you, at that point, it's just a glorified friendly in the event that we lose the first game. So it's a tough ask to take time away to go to the stadium, pay for parking and all that. But please do not take it as I'm discouraging people to go. Go ahead and support the boys if you can. But the reality of the tournament is that I just want you to know that it's critical. Yes, exactly. It is critical that we win that first game. Otherwise, it's a very, very steep uphill battle. But the boys are on fire, and who knows what may happen. We say it all the time: the football's cruel and unpredictable. That may happen, but in the draw, we're playing Mexican royalty. Atlas, Pumas, Necaxa. I'm sorry. No. I'm one of those kids that grew up watching Mexican football on Univision when I was a kid. And, that right there, you know what? You know what will make this worse? If we had Club America in the mix. I, I just listen. I just don't see us winning. I just don't see
Speaking
us.
of Necaxa, did you see that they have a special about them on Hulu coming up?
Yes, because Rob McInerney, I can't say his name.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
got the
yeah.
Rob,
Them and what's her name?
uh,
Bought
um,
them. Well, they're yeah.
Wasn't it Eva
her
Longoria?
name is at the
Eva
tip of my
Longoria.
tongue.
Thank you, thank you.
What's her name?
Eva Longoria.
Eva Longoria. Yeah, they bought the club, so they want to do the same thing as Wrexham.
Wrexham.
Necaxa. Once again, yes, Mama, is a very famous Mexican club, but also for those of us that grew up watching El Chavo del Ocho.
Uh huh.
Right. El Chavo del Ocho, there was a character that followed Necaxa, very famous character, Don Ramon. And in fact, there was years ago, there was a Mexican player, I'm sorry, Argentinian player that was signed by Necaxa. And he said, I wanna play with number 14. They asked him why. Oh, because it was Don Ramon's apartment number. So like if you're a Spanish speaker, you know the show that I'm talking about. And that so yeah, it's a club with a lot of story, a club that went
Hmm.
up, disappeared, came back. Incredible story. And I just, again, perhaps, listen, perhaps that we make the show because we're playing them. So cool, that's great. But I just don't see us beating Mexican teams that are super fresh, preseason like, and they have like 17 DPs in their squad, because only one team in MLS can have that luxury. So with that said, I just think that we just go out there, give our best, and see what happens. But it's game on after this 2 weeks,
Yep.
because we have an important match against Inter Miami at home. But nonetheless, before I forget, since we're coming to the end, I just wanna, as a podcast, we wanna send our well wishes to former Lion Chris Mueller. He has been diagnosed with a heart condition that is life threatening. In fact, he has not played since last year. He is the father of a small child, a small boy. And as a father, as a husband, I can't imagine having, and as a young man as he is, I can't imagine pondering that I may not be around to see my child grow up into a man, or to be there for my wife. So I just Chris was always nice to me, nice to the fans, his parents, his siblings. Chris gave everything that he had. I know a lot of people are angry about the way things happen. I can't blame him. He was ambitious, and he was ill advised. I was told by people that work in the club that are no longer there, by the way. Um, that he was ill advised, and that he lived to regret that decision. But at the same time, we are all entitled to make mistakes. Doesn't mean that we should wish him any ill will. And Chris, we love you. At least from my standpoint. Thank you for everything that you did for Orlando. And I believe in a all powerful God, and I hope that you put your faith in Him, and that you come through, and on the other side. I wouldn't say ready to play football, because who knows? It's just a game. But ready to live your life, and that your death happens when you are old in age, surrounded by your grandchildren and great grandchildren, and not now as a young man. So if by luck you hear this, I just want to say that we wish you the best. We're rooting for you, man, and I hope that there's an answer from the doctor soon, so you can get better.
Definitely. But yeah, back to League's Cup. The match Wednesday, just so everybody knows, starts at 8 p.m. Kind of a different time for us. And then the match Saturday against Atlas, um, 6 p.m.
And that one, by the way,
Um,
I believe is a double header. There's a
yes, I
second
was
match.
just going to say that. I just saw that on Ticketmaster. There's plenty of tickets for both matches. Bring a friend, bring a neighbor, bring a coworker, because Saturday after our match, Pumas, we get to be Pumas fans for the night because they play Atlanta United. So we
Oh,
can we can
buddy.
we can welcome Atlanta
Woo!
United for
It's
those
at
in the
like
Frothing at the
nine.
mouth, John.
It's at like 9 o'clock, right, or something
yeah.
like.
So we the people that want that talk a big game like myself about when it comes to Atlanta. I gotta pass it by the girlfriend first. A 3-year-old in the stadium for 6 hours. But they can leave and pick me up later. But I want to stay. Want to try to stay for the second match and let remind Atlanta where they're at. That they're in Orlando. And being one of our rivals here in the South, I feel like it's our
Duty.
duty to be there for Pumas since they can't play at their own home. And to me, this tournament will never be a valid tournament, have the validity of a real tournament until matches are played in Mexico and in the
Amen.
United States. For me, it's really against the teams from Mexico that come and play. They don't want to play. A lot of them, just show up for the prize, for the entrance fee, their entrance money, and bow out after the first couple rounds. I'm gonna be there this year. Last year I missed out, boycotting not being in the Open Cup. I feel like our message was heard last year. It killed me not being in the stadium supporting the boys. Um, Especially because we beat Montreal. What was it, 5-1 or something like that last year? Um, but yeah, show up. It's still Orlando City. And if you can, be there for both games Saturday, or at least be there for our match against Atlas. The Mexican teams are going to bring their fans with them. They always do. One of the coolest matches I've ever been to was our Champions League match against Tigres. Even though we ended up losing the draw, it was a draw at the end of that match, but one of the coolest atmospheres I've ever seen. It was pretty close to 50-50. It was obviously more Tigers fans, but it was pretty close to 50-50. And the way the two supporters were going back and forth was really cool as well. Just a cool atmosphere to be in. So, everybody needs to show up Saturday. I know Wednesdays are tough for everybody. I may not be there, but, definitely the match on Saturday, everybody needs to show up for and support the boys.
Are we forgetting anything before we say goodbye?
I think that's it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I
I
think
think
we
I
got
think we
really.
covered it all, gents. All
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
So we
Don't
will.
forget, people, real quick, get your PTO requests in for 2 Mondays from now because we do play Miami on a Sunday night. So get your PTO requests in
Because you're not going to
for,
have your
for
voice.
Monday.
Because you're not going to have
Yeah,
your voice
I
on
put, I
Monday.
put mine in today, so don't forget.
You know what's crazy for us in my county? That's the next day is when school starts.
Yes,
So yeah, that's gonna be a fun
that's a
Monday.
lot. A
yeah,
lot
It's
of
gonna
yeah.
be a
counties
fun
in
My
Monday
school.
wife
all
went back
around.
to work today. She was not happy. Yeah, my wife's a school teacher. She had to go to her classroom, and my kids have to pick up their computers. I think August 11th is when school starts in Orange County. So, summer's over, baby. Oh, by the way, also, we want to say this past week we lost an icon in Hulk Hogan.
Oh
If
yeah,
you're a Gen Xer, man, Hulkamania was running wild on you in the 80s and 90s,
that's right.
and it's a shame, man. That this month Ozzy and Hulk were taken away from us. That's when you're getting older, brother, because the heroes are moving on.
That's why I wasn't gonna say anything, David. I don't want to remind myself.
No, I hear you, brother. It's a shame, but yeah,
Yeah.
man. It's something. Um, by the way, don't feel bad. Hulk Hogan was a Rowdies fan, so yeah, there you go. So
Uh,
I'm sorry to break it to you guys, but that's
no.
a reality. But
All right.
it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah. To each their own. To each their own. All right. So we're gonna leave you the only way we know how, reminding you that football is played on grass, not on paper. That football is cruel and unpredictable. That football is a pound of talent and an ounce of luck. And if you have not cried for joy or anger over football, have you really footballed? For the whole team here at the In 90 Minutes podcast, may God bless you. And as always, vamos,